So I watched this really good video by this creator who's so insightful and breaks down so many of these ancient texts that were written and other stuff as well. And the book that he's talking about is written by the gnostics, and it's called The Apocalypse of Adam. And I'm just going to read it off, what he said, and just pause on the parts that are important. But he says, so Adam and Eve were eons above the God that created their body. And they were one being, and once they learned the truth, God separated them. So this would tie into the whole masculine and feminine, why there's two masculine and feminines living inside of us, because of the fact that we were separated from the entire being of what we were. So there's parts of masculine and feminine, and parts of feminine and masculine, but that's why there's men that are masculine and have their feminine dormant, and females that are feminine and have their masculine dormant. So it's like when they were split, parts of each other were left in each other. So when they're one being, they're strong in terms of masculine and feminine. They're one, but both parts exist in each of them that become one. And this would kind of make sense about the twin flame journey, because I always said like, oh, I don't believe that it's one soul in two different bodies. But that actually makes sense with what the Gnostics are saying. That when God knew how powerful they were, he separated them. And the twin flames are one soul living in two different bodies, which would make sense why they're exactly alike. They're similar. They share the same life experiences. When they meet each other, it's both igniting each other, because they are one soul that got separated because God saw how powerful they are. And that's why their separation is so painful for them, because they're literally one being, and it's losing part of your soul when you go into separation. They go through painful experience and hard life, which create all this trauma built up in them. And when they meet each other, they trigger each other. And it's because the Creator doesn't want them to go back into self. They don't want them to become one, because they're so powerful together. They change the world. Their energy ignites something into this world that changes things, that wakes other people up. So they're meant to wake people up, and other people find their divine counterpart, their soul that they've been separated from. So that's why it's so important to be self-aware and go on this journey of healing and knowledge and discovering all these things that are hidden from us, because we're meant to reunite with our soul, because we're meant to be one again with our soul mate. That's why it's called a soulmate, but it's really just one soul that has been split apart by this God that created this body, but has separated our soul into two beings and put it into two separate bodies. So I really thought we had multiple soulmates, but when I'm listening to this and I'm putting all the pieces of information together and formulating in my mind and trusting my intuition, is that I really do think we only have one soulmate, because it's just a part of our soul that got ripped apart from us and put into a different body. So as when it comes together, it is one soul that has two different personalities, but it's one soul put together, masculine and feminine. But we do have karmic relationships, for example, that we feel chemistry or compatibility or whatever with, that teach us things, right? That there's lessons that we need to learn. We have soul family, which is not necessarily blood-related family, but people that we have a connection with, that we have chemistry and compatibility with, and we can be together with and feel comfortable with, but that doesn't mean it's our twin flame, the person that was ripped apart from us. That is different, because it's one with us. So it's crazy how it all works. So he further says that they are one soul in two different bodies because they were so powerful that they needed to be separated to not tap into their power, so their knowledge of the Creator was lost. They forgot it. That's why a lot of people think that God created their body and their soul. But that's not true. The Creator and God are different. The God of this world just created their body and put their soul into it. But the Creator of all that's above this dome created our soul, and that's where the power lies, because it's within us. And once they forgot that, they became slaves to the false god. And they served him in fear and slavery, not devotion. Fear and slavery, so he wanted them to believe they were nothing, used humans for his own cosmic game of Sims, and it worked. Adam and Eve thought they were just broken, lost humans. So after they lost their knowledge of the divine, they started learning about dead men, which means the things of matter and material things, instead of the divine world. And that's what this God wanted. He didn't want Adam to know he was divine, or Eve was divine, or they were a unity. He wanted them to remain asleep. Why? Because an awakened Adam and Eve who knew the divine was dangerous. One day, Adam woke up from the ignorance. He saw three beings. Likeness was not of anything I recognized before, since they were not of the powers of God who had created us. They were beyond the power of God who ruled this world, earth. They weren't angels or demons created by this God. They were messengers from the true reality, the realm of light. They said, "Arise, Adam, from the sleep of death, and hear about the eon and the seed of that man who life has come, who came from you and your wife Eve. You guys used to be with the real God. You've been fooled by a cosmic car artist so they have the equivalent of a DMT trip and realized reality's fake, and they told them the future, that they would have a son named Seth and he would be a big deal." So what do we see happening in today's world? People are walking around like zombies. They're not awoken. They're trapped in this materialistic world. They think it matters to be the biggest guy, be the top of this CEO company, all of these things, when what matters is the good that you're doing in this world, the difference, the change, the waking people up, the finances that you use to help make this world a better place. Like, so many people don't have self-awareness, are not woke, so they think that this life is what matters. When it's bigger than that, we're a soul, and we're meant to perfect our soul by doing good deeds, learning from our karmic lessons, doing more dharma, all of these things we're supposed to learn and grow as a spiritual being, ground ourselves, be in nature, all these things, so that we get higher and higher in consciousness, not more trapped and more plugged into this world, relying on it for our happiness, when true happiness lies within us by knowing thyself. And even the God of the Bible, he's always destroying people because they're not following his orders, because they're sinning, they're not worthy. Like, he treats souls like they're not his children. If everyone's his children, he created everyone, then why is he treating them so bad because they didn't follow his rules? Like, are you kidding me? Like, you're trapping them and not giving them access to knowledge, and then you're expecting them to follow your rules when you're creating these rules for them, when it's not related to the creator and creation. So think about it. Is that not a slave, that you have to do what I say, and if you break my rules, I'm going to punish you? So it's like one of those things that the creator wants us to reach our highest timelines. And when we don't follow the path of our highest timelines, then he does send us sign after sign, and things get harder and harder for us to recognize that this is not for me. And he gives us a lesson so that we get back on our highest timeline. He's not destroying us. He's trying to wake us up to get us back to our highest timeline, with that God is not. So after that, the fake God that created them said, "Do you not know that I am the one who created you and breathed into life a spirited soul?" This is textbook gaslighting from a cosmic catfish. He knows Adam is starting to wake up, and he wants to try and shut it down. Just shows he's fake, because the real God wouldn't have to prove himself. This God is terrified of Adam finding out the truth.